Terminator Genisys. As a Terminator fan, I kinda hated this movie. As an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, I kinda love this movie. Seriously, if you love Arnold Schwarzenegger, then I do recommend this movie, to be honest. He makes the movie fun. Every time he shows up on screen, he owns the character. He knows this character from the bottom of his heart. He owns every scene. He is great. Sure, not all the jokes are good, but at the same time, the fact that they're said by Arnold Schwarzenegger just makes it fun. But here's the thing, if you do love the Terminator series, this movie is really not that good. Which is kind of a bummer because I kind of want this movie to be a huge comeback for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Unfortunately, this movie is not making enough money in the box office. Hopefully, the international box office would change that because I kind of want to see sequels for this franchise, but probably it's going to be dead, and that's a bummer because, seriously, Arnold Schwarzenegger was great in this movie, but the rest of the movie isn't that good. This review is going to be spoiler heavy, so if you're really interested in seeing this movie, I say check it out for a matinee, but otherwise I wait until it comes out on Blu-ray and you could just rent it. I'll probably buy it on Blu-ray because I do like it as an Arnold Schwarzenegger film, but yeah, as a Terminator film, it's very confusing and it's really not good. So, spoilers from here on out. This movie fucks up the timeline. A lot. It confuses the heck out of me every time I try to think about it, seriously. Because Skynet is losing, John Connor and the Resistance are winning, so Skynet decides to make the time machine so it could send back the T-800 to the events of the first Terminator movie. I get that. So John Connor tries to use the time machine to send Kyle Reese back. And for some reason at first, Kyle Reese was asking to volunteer, and John Connor's like, why? Why do you want to volunteer? I was like, you should know why, John Connor. He's your freaking father, unless you don't know that. John Connor knows that. He should know that he has to send Kyle Reese back. Seriously. You gotta be born, right? So I didn't understand why you had to question about Kyle Reese. What was the point of that? So Kyle Reese decides to go back in time, but before he does, the guy from Doctor Who, I believe his name is Matt Smith, he does the Agent Smith thing on John Connor right before the Kyle Reese leaves to go to the events of the first Terminator movie. So Kyle Reese goes to 1984, and then he encounters the police officer, now played by Lee Byung-hun, who turns out to be the T-1000. And also, I don't know why, the T-1000 could have easily killed Kyle Reese in this scene. But for some reason, he decides to fuck around. For some reason, answers Kyle Reese's questions. Because Kyle Reese is like, hey, what year is it? And Lee Byung-hun is like, well, it's 1984. The time where you're supposed to come. And I was like, wait, why would you say that? And then he forms the liquid metal arms and tries to kill Jai Courtney. But Kyle Reese keeps shooting him in the head and then runs away. So I was like, why would you even answer him that? Just kill him. You have the element of surprise. Also, you're the liquid metal man. I don't think bullets should affect you that much, especially a Beretta. Kyle Reese runs to the dressing store. They recreated some of the moments from the first Terminator movie. So when Kyle Reese was getting his pants, his shoes, and the clothes and stuff, that was pretty cool. The T-1000 is trying to kill Kyle Reese. And then at that time, the T-800 that was sent by Skynet, they recreated a lot of the same shots. And this was cool. I do like this. I understand why they have to do CGI effects for Arnold Schwarzenegger's face. I don't really understand why they couldn't just use the same scenes from the first Terminator movie. Probably it's the rights issue or something like that. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, they recreated a lot of the scenes from the first Terminator movie. And it looked pretty cool, to be honest. And I do like the CGI face of Arnold Schwarzenegger on this bodybuilder. It really looked cool. But the thing is that every time he goes under some bright lighting, you can really tell that it's really CGI. And the skin looks fine, but it's the eyes. The eyes just look dead. And that's always been the problem for the CGI characters. Seriously, bright lighting just kills it. It kills it. So that's why you have to show it under dark lighting. That's why I do like the young Jeff Bridges from Tron Legacy. Every time he's under dark lighting or warm lighting, he looks realistic. Every time he's under bright lighting, he looks fake as shit, and it just ruins the moment. So, same thing here. They tried their best. You can tell the animators, the artists, the renderers, the texturers, they did so much hard work on making this young Arnold Schwarzenegger face look real as hell. They did pull it off mostly. It's just the eyes. The eyes are the biggest giveaway. But then they showed the scene with the punks, and this kind of killed the mood for me because, seriously, you're trying to recreate the scenes, but you use the characters that kind of look like the characters, but you screw up on the appearance of the punks. I understand you can't get someone that looks like Bill Paxton. You can't get someone that looks like the punks. Actually, one of the punks looks almost like the punk from the first movie, the one that Arnold Schwarzenegger ends up getting the clothes from. But the other two, the one that says, "Wash day tomorrow. Nothing clean, right?" And Bill Paxton. So yeah, those guys look so different in this version, and I don't understand. I know people are gonna say, "Oh, what do you expect? It's an alternate timeline. They could get away with that." I'm like, alternate timeline? So you have these three guys who just happen to be fucking around with the telescope, drinking beer, and they happen to wear almost the exact same clothes from the original film, and they say the exact same things to the T-800, who says the exact same things from the movie, the original movie. And you're telling me it's just an alternate timeline? No, that's bullshit. Seriously. Why don't you just use CGI faces of the guys? Seriously. If you do that, then when you see the CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger under the bright lighting and you see the CGI faces of the punks, then you'll be like, oh, okay, so this kind of looks more realistic because you look at everyone else. But no, you see real life actors with the CGI actor, and you can tell that that guy's CGI. So they could have gotten away with that. And also, how do you fuck up the hairstyle? Seriously, Bill Paxton has like the weird blue hair, and this guy has like black hair, which ends up looking like a spiky afro, and this guy has a mohawk for some reason. I gotta say though, they sound almost like the guys from the first movie, but seriously, the appearances just killed it for me. But still, I gotta say that the fact that they recreated the scene was pretty cool. And I do like the change up when the old Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out and says, "I've been waiting for you." And then the T-800 is like, "Oh, I gotta fight this T-800." So this fight was kind of awesome. It's probably the best moment in the whole movie, which is at the 15-minute mark of the movie. This movie's 2 hours long. This fight was pretty damn short, but still it was kind of awesome, and I do like the tag team between T-800 and Sarah Connor, and that Sarah Connor uses a high-powered rifle to defeat the T-800 in the end. But at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed that the old Arnold Schwarzenegger cannot defeat the new Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, that fight was pretty cool, but here's the thing. The T-800, the old Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's now called the Guardian. Seriously, that's what he's listed in the credits. He's not the Terminator, he's called the Guardian. And the thing about this, the Guardian, is the fact that someone sent him from the future. They don't say who. Probably it'll be answered in the sequel. I don't know, but the T-800, this version of the T-800 doesn't know who sent him, but he has to protect Sarah Connor. So he was sent back in time in the 1970s to protect the very young Sarah Connor from a T-1000 that was sent by Skynet. And this was in the 1970s. So I was kind of confused by that. I was like, wait, so this T-800 defeated the T-1000? Really? Probably I'm reading wrong because Skynet sent the T-1000 to kill Kyle Reese. So I was like, wait, so did that mean that Skynet knows what happened in T1, T2, and T3, that they should have sent more Terminators at the same time period? So I was kind of confused by this. I think they suggested that because of Matt Smith doing the Agent Smith thing on John Connor screwed up the timeline, but I don't know, that just made no sense to me whatsoever. And the fact that Skynet should have known that if they failed when they tried to kill young Sarah Connor, then why didn't they send more Terminators at that same time period to overwhelm the T-800 that was trying to protect Sarah Connor? I understand if it would make sense that if the T-800 in the 1970s could not defeat the T-1000, and that the T-1000 happens to be Lee Byung-hun, but they said that they defeated him. So I was like, okay. Because they just showed the young T-800 with a rocket launcher. Oh well, I gotta buy that, I guess. So Sarah Connor, the Guardian, goes to protect Kyle Reese, and they picked him up, and she says some of the same lines from all the Terminator franchise. Come with me if you want to live. Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor was good. I mean, she almost looks like Linda Hamilton, and the way she acts was good. And I do like her relationship with the T-800. I mean, the Guardian. It reminds me of John Connor and the T-800 in T2s. And the relationship here is even stronger than before because the Guardian is actually a father figure. He actually cares about Sarah Connor. He grows to love her. He grows to have emotions. He's trying to learn new things. And I do like this version of the T-800. Seriously, every time he's on screen, he's freaking awesome. Sure, some of the jokes that he says are kind of hit or miss, but still, he was great. Arnold Schwarzenegger knows this character, and it's just great. Okay, so Kyle Reese. I don't like this version of Kyle Reese. I don't know if it's that Jai Courtney is miscast or the writers did a fucked up job. Seriously, this Kyle Reese is a wimp. He's nothing like Michael Biehn's Kyle Reese from the first movie. He's a wimp. He whines too much. He slows things down too much. He's nothing. He's not even a good soldier. Sarah Connor is more badass, and she really doesn't really need his help. All she needs is the T-800. You could have shown us that Kyle Reese just dies immediately, and the fact that Sarah Connor has to find a way to protect Kyle Reese or something like that so she can give birth to John Connor. Something, because this version of Kyle Reese just sucks. Even though Jai Courtney looks nothing like Michael Biehn, but still, I thought Jai Courtney can be a good actor. It's just here, I don't know what's with him. I guess he acts fine, but he seems like this role is not made for him. It should have been made for someone else. I prefer Carl Urban if he was a bit younger. Heck, Chris Pine I would have picked. So, I don't know. Probably it's the miscasting, but but even if it's miscast, still, the writers did a fucked up job. Seriously, this is not the Kyle Reese we like. And also, here's the thing. They screwed up the timeline so much because in the first movie, Kyle Reese has been with Sarah Connor for like a day, and then they have sex, and that's why John Connor was born. This whole movie takes place within a couple days, and they switch different timelines. So I'm wondering if they never had sex, and John Connor should never been born, right? Which means that John Connor could never send Kyle Reese back in time, which would have screwed up everything, and Skynet could have won in the end. That's what I'm thinking. All Skynet has to do is just fuck things up. But nope. So Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor and the T-800 defeat the T-1000 and the T-800 in 1984. This whole timeline took place in 1984. It only lasted for about 30 minutes. And the T-1000 dies by the end of that timeline. And I was really disappointed in that. You have Lee Byung-hun. And he was awesome as the T-1000. And I do like the effects of the T-1000 here. I mean, sure, I do prefer the T-1000 effects from the second movie. But actually also from the third movie. But still here, I thought they did mostly a good job. They were pretty creative with the idea, and I love the part where he cuts off his arm and throws it like a javelin at the Guardian. That was pretty cool. And I do like the fact that he can hack the young T-800 and make him usable again. That was pretty cool. And so there's this dual fight with the T-1000 and the young T-800, and they're trying to defeat Sarah Connor, the Guardian, and Kyle Reese. That was pretty cool. But I cannot believe that the T-1000 is just destroyed immediately. The main villain of the movie is John Connor as the T-3000, and that's a big bummer because I thought that if they go through different timelines, that the T-1000 and the T-800 are trying to find them and kill them throughout the different timelines. That's what I thought the movie was going to be about at first, while judging from the first trailer. Because I heard they were going to the year 2017. So I was like, wait a second. So does that mean that the T-1000 and the T-800 are going through different years to try to find them and kill them? That's kind of awesome, to be honest. It's like the Nemesis from Resident Evil. All they'll do is just follow you. That was pretty cool. But no, it's nothing like that. They both get destroyed in the 1984. Kyle Reese, because the timeline has changed. Before, he had dead parents and he was an orphan around the year 2017. But because the timeline has changed, 2017 Judgment Day didn't happen yet. Judgment Day will happen in the year 2017, not in 1997. So because of that, Kyle Reese has new memories. So he remembers new things. And Looper, yeah, Looper did the same thing when Bruce Willis changed so much in the past that he's gaining new memories, even though he shouldn't. So basically, they're doing the exact same thing with this. Kyle Reese gets all these memories, even though he shouldn't, because the timeline is different now. In X-Men Days of Future Past and Back to the Future, Marty and Logan, because the timeline has changed, they have no recollection of the years that happened. So that's what is kind of heartbreaking about that, because Logan went through, like, is from the 1980s, like about 30 years, and he can't remember what happened because to him, they never happened. Same thing with Marty. When he gets back to 1985, his whole family has changed. His lifestyle should be changed. Yet he still has the same girlfriend, but he doesn't remember what happened because he never experienced that. So here, Kyle Reese gets new memories. So that was a kind of an interesting idea. But for some reason, Judgment Day is postponed until 2017? Why? I understand 2003, like in the Terminator 3. That's why I thought they're going to the Terminator 3 timeline. But no, T2 never happened. Seriously, never happened. The Robert Patrick T-1000? Nope, never happened. That's the thing. Because Sarah Connor never had sex with Kyle Reese, John Connor should not be born. Seriously, because they jump into the year 2017. I was like, wait, what? So there's no Sarah Connor from 1984 to 2017. And she did not give birth to John Connor. So this screws up my mind. So they used the time machine to go to the year 2017, and poor Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he even told them, listen, because I'm made out of metal, I can't go into the time machine. No, wait, no, that's not it. They can only send 2 at a time. I think that's what happened. And they have to send Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor in time. That's how it happened. So the T-800 has to stay behind, and he has to wait from 1984 to 2017. So he ages. And here's the thing that I loved about this version of the T-800, the Guardian, I mean. Turned out that he worked all those years. Seriously, for about 30 years, he's been working to get money, and he got laid off. When he said this, I wanted to see that. I don't mind this. I want to see a movie, a comedy movie, about the T-800, I mean the Guardian, just working his ass off to get all these ammo, the guns, and all that stuff to have this lifestyle. Probably he made a best friend or something like that. Seriously, that movie could have been so freaking awesome. I would see that. That idea is amazing. Unfortunately, they don't get away. They don't show any of it. It's just talked about. But it was a very funny joke. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor end up in the year 2017, and then they go to the hospital because Kyle Reese really got hit by the car, but it didn't break his back or anything. But the police are interrogating them, but you know, they just think that they're just on drugs or something like that. Then it turns out John Connor happens to be in this timeline. And Kyle Reese is like, John, what are you doing here? Oh yeah, I got sent back through time. And Sarah Connor did the smart thing by asking John Connor if he is the real John Connor, because she knows that the T-1000 could be anywhere. They could imitate them. So John Connor proved that he is the real John Connor by saying the important memories of Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese. And then Kyle Reese finds out that John Connor is his son. Kyle Reese never knew that. And Sarah Connor knows the entire time because she was told by the Guardian. And the Guardian keeps asking, did you mate yet? And at that point, the Guardian comes into the hospital, shoots up John Connor with the teddy bear, and seriously, I love that. Seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger with a giant teddy bear and basically giving it anal by shooting it through the head, you know, up the ass through the head at John Connor. I love that. And it turns out that John Connor is now a Terminator. And he is the real John Connor who got infected like Agent Smith from The Matrix Reloaded by Matt Smith. And this is what I hate also about the movie. Matt Smith is the voice of Skynet. I hated that from Terminator Salvation. They had to do it again. Seriously? Oh, God. So yeah, he's the Red Queen from Resident Evil. Oh, I did not like this. I didn't like this. And it brings up even more questions because he's seen the future. He knows he has to be sent to the year 2000. I forgot what year the movie was supposed to take place, the future time. Was it 2027 or something like that? I could be wrong. So yeah, he has to infect John Connor, and he sends John Connor to the year 2014 so he could work with Cyberdyne, work with Miles Dyson and his son, and they make the time machine, and they make the prototypes for the T-1000 and the T-800 so Skynet could be born and all that shit. Young Kyle Reese told himself that Genisys is Skynet and that they have to be sent to the year 2017 to stop Genisys from becoming Skynet. And it turns out that Genisys is basically a network for all computers and everything. So once that happens, then Skynet will take form and basically send out all the nukes and stuff like that. So Kyle Reese, the Guardian, and Sarah Connor have to stop Skynet from becoming live. John Connor is the main bad guy, basically. And here's the thing. Jason Clarke did the best he could do. I thought he was fine as John Connor. I just didn't like this. I don't know. If that idea wasn't shown in the trailers, it would have been a very surprising twist and it would have been fun. But the problem is, because they show it in the TV spots, they show it in the trailers, you know that John Connor is going to be the main bad guy. He's the Terminator. He's going to betray everyone. So yeah, because of the element of surprise is not there, yeah, it's kind of tedious. And I don't know, it's kind of boring from that point out, because everything was fun in the 1984 section, but then in the year 2017, it was kind of boring, to be honest. I mean, they had that bus chase scene, and the fact that the bus was actually real and it crashed on the... Well, it didn't crash into the San Francisco Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, but still, that effect was real. And I do like that. It reminds me of The Dark Knight when the truck flipped over. That was pretty cool. Besides that, the action sequences are not as impressive. Seriously, it was a lot more fun in the first 30 minutes than it was in the 1 hour and 30 minutes remaining. The fights between old Arnold versus John Connor was kind of cool. But at the same time, it was too much CGI. I mean, sure, in T3, they do use CGI, but for the most part, it was practical. There was practical damage as well. And here, you could definitely tell it's a green screen backdrop, and you could tell that they just CGI'd Arnold's face on a younger stunt double so they could fight off the T-3000, who is John Connor, and John Connor keeps switching between his human self and his robot self, and he has this kind of cool ability because he's made out of nanobites that he could turn into dust and teleport all over through the room. He can go through grates and all that stuff. They never showed that before, when he could burst into tiny pieces and go through grates. He could have done that so many times throughout this movie. Seriously, he could have just killed John Connor, Sarah Connor, I mean Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, and also the T-800 by doing that. But no, he just fucks with them. Seriously, that's all he does. So you have this final fight in Cyberdyne, and the Guardian wins by punching him with the magnetic thing, and they go into the time travel machine, but because the metal is exposed, the time machine cannot work with that, because the time machine can only send human flesh and blood. So the time machine is, the magnetic field is getting wonky, then it explodes, and the Guardian goes into the liquid metal components where the T-1000 is being made as a prototype. So I was kind of sad about that, because I did feel sad when the Guardian was losing. He lost his arms, he was losing his face, he was losing the fight. But then when he did the finishing blow, that was awesome. But then he's like, "No, I have to sacrifice myself." Arg! I was like, "No, I can't. There's supposed to be 2 more movies! Don't sacrifice yourself! Arnold, you're the best part of this movie! No!" So I thought that Arnold would be dead, but it turned out that he got an upgrade, because the material that makes the T-1000, it can only work if there's the CPU processor, which Arnold has. At first I thought it's because he's deactivated it shouldn't work, but then he gets the upgrade, so he has the T-1000 abilities. He can change his body into different things. So that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, so does that mean that he could change his whole appearance, or he can't do anything about that? because I'm like, why should he look like the old Arnold? He said he's upgraded, yes, but he could look like the young version of Arnold Schwarzenegger, which would have been pretty awesome. But no, it's just old Arnold. He's able to do the T-1000 abilities, and then Cyberdyne basically blows up, and then that's the ending, basically. There's this ending, there's another ending mid-credits where it shows Matt Smith and that the core of Skynet is actually still functioning. It just happens to be under the destruction. That whole thing with Matt Smith as the voice of Skynet just killed it for me. I don't get it. Why do they have to travel to 2017? Just destroy everything that the Cyberdyne was going to be. Do your research, basically. You have plenty of time to figure it out. I understand if they go to 1997 to stop Skynet from happening, but yeah, turns out that Skynet is about to be live in the year 2017 instead of 1997 or 2003. I didn't understand that. And also, J.K. Simmons is in this movie, and he was wasted in this film. You don't need him. You don't really need him. He plays the cop that the Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor encounters in 1984. And then he grows up to be this guy, and he's been waiting for them the entire time. He's like, I know you two. You two didn't age. And oh my god, the big guy. Here's the big guy. That's all he does. And Lee Byung-hun, also wasted in this film. He dies in the first 30 minutes of the movie. Why do you do that? You shouldn't have done that. I felt like this movie would have been better if they just stuck with 1984, and if they have to do time travel, go to 1997. Seriously, that's the first two good movies. Now, basically, T2 never happened. Seriously, Miles Dyson is alive. And he created Cyberdyne. They're about to create the time machine, and he did it with his son. Okay. So, I don't know why they have J.K. Simmons in this movie. Does that mean that he's going to be important in the future movies? I don't know. Matt Smith is the voice of Skynet, so basically he's the big baddie. I kind of want to see sequels to this film, but at the same time, this movie just fucks up everything with the timeline. Makes no goddamn sense. If Skynet knows that the attack on young Sarah Connor failed, then just keep sending more Terminators to that time period. Why do you have to wait until 2017 to make Skynet go live? That made no sense. I felt like this movie, the timeline should have focused on 1984, or if you have to, 1997 also. That would have been awesome. And also, I think a lot of people would respect it also when you recreate scenes from those two movies. Like, Robert Patrick as the T-1000 is back, yay! You know, stuff like that. And if you focus on just the T-1000 and the T-800 hunting down the Guardian, John Connor, and Kyle Reese, this movie would have been so much better. And if you did not show the twist about the John Connor being the Terminator in the trailers, then that would have been a fun twist. But at the same time, the action is really not that impressive. The first 30 minutes is the best part, basically, because it takes place in 1984. Everything in 2017 was kind of boring. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a lot of fun, though. There's a couple of jokes, even though one joke didn't work with me. I believe he keeps saying, I'm old, but I'm not obsolete. He keeps saying that. I think he said it like 4 times throughout the film, and it was really dragging. It was not that funny the second time he said it. I like the idea of him having a job and he got laid off. Seriously, can you imagine that? The T-800 getting laid off at his job? That is freaking funny. Seriously, Arnold Schwarzenegger made the movie for me, which is why I'm kind of disappointed that this movie did not make much money. I don't think this movie will get sequels. Probably it'll stay dead. And also, I'm starting to judge James Cameron on his choice of films. I like James Cameron. I can't wait for Avatar 2. This movie was really not as good as he keeps saying it is. I don't love this movie. I kind of like this movie, but only as an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, not a Terminator fan. So, if you've seen Terminator Genisys, write down in the comments below how do you feel about the movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. Guys, if you like this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to subscribe, there's an annotation here for subscribing. So until next time, guys, see you later, and thank you for watching.